Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of First Time Watch Fridays. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. And yes, just like I said last week, we are doing House Squatch. Yes, which this picture right here, this picture of him, looks a lot scarier than what I watched. What I watched was a guy in a gorilla suit running around a suburb. This is like should have been like Suburban Sasquatch 2, you know. This was in fact, I actually like Suburban Sasquatch more. Even though Suburban Sasquatch has some really questionable silliness to it. That was more fun than this movie. My biggest problem with this movie was it really tried so hard to be funny, and the jokes were just didn't land. I don't know, and it's not the actor's fault necessarily. I think it's the writing. It's just the jokes didn't land. Way too much on like fart jokes, relies too much on it. So like characters, if a character dies, they'll fart or something, and I'm just like, oh god, this is a little annoying. There's too much of that. There's a character that wears like a mask and it's clearly a guy, but it says it's a girl, which look, I'm all for trans and everything, but like you're really literally trying to act like a girl, but you can clearly see under the mask that the guy has a beard. And the guy is built like a man. So they could have made some kind of trans joke or something. Not like that's a joke, but what I'm saying is they could have said something that's funnier funny about it. But no, they left it in there, and I guess that was supposed to be the joke, but I didn't find it funny. I found it a little bit annoying. I mean, there was a couple characters that just like, okay, so my other biggest problem with the movie is there's not enough actors. Now, if you know Mark Polonia, who also did this with his son Anthony, um, they usually have way more cast members. I don't know if it was just like nobody could come out that weekend that they were filming, and I literally mean it was probably one weekend. It almost feels like it was shot in a day. But it if they weren't around that weekend, they weren't able to shoot, so they were like, okay, well, we'll scrap up the normal people. You've obviously got your Jeff Kirkendall, your Tim Hatch, Titus, who else? Every like I'm gonna read the whole list of people real quick, the actors, because there's not many, so it's not like I'm gonna be taking a lot of time. So there's Ken Van Sant, who normally plays Duke Larson, basically playing Duke Larson in here without saying his name, but he's playing Sheriff Milligan. Jeff Kirkendall is Duncan. Tim Hatch is Mulcahy. Mulcahy, I can't say his name right. Titus Himmelberger is Baxter, and he was fun, and we'll get into that. There's the local woman is Yoli Canoles or whatever. Jamie Morgan and Michael Coratis. So it doesn't say who played the house squatch, so it's probably one of the many people. You can actually see in the house squatch's eyes, eye holes, that it's a person in a mask. It's a gorilla suit. It's not even a Sasquatch suit, so it doesn't even look like a Sasquatch. I mean, I'm not one to like judge on low budget filmmaking. I love low budget filmmaking, and this is low budget filmmaking at its core. But my only problem with the movie was kind of dull. Like halfway through the movie, I got really tired and bored. Like I was falling asleep in a movie called House Squatch. That should not be happening. There should be deaths happening at least every 10 minutes, and there wasn't. Somebody got their arm ripped off. other people got killed, but a lot of it's off screen. You don't really see any of it. You see the aftermath. I mean, it was just sort of boring. Now, if you could do that stuff and be interesting because the story, but the story wasn't interesting enough. And then at the end, it just kind of like, it feels like it ends, but like, I don't know. And then there was like a flashback scenes that just kept happening over and over again. After a while, I got kind of bored. I was like, okay, do I need to hear about this story? Like, is there going to be a point to it? There was no point to it. Not really. It just, it didn't even need that like extra storyline for it. I mean, the character Baxter didn't need a storyline. It was so ridiculous. And not in a fun way. Like, this should have been fun. It's called House Squatch. House Shark was a lot more fun than this, and I think that was the whole idea, because this was put out by SRS Cinema. So like, I believe that House Squatch was supposed to be like a new version of House Shark, just not done by Ron Bonk. And I feel like if Ron Bonk had made House Squatch, he would have made it a lot more fun. The only problem I'm having with Polonia these days is I feel like he's phoning it in. And I've been hearing that from a lot of people. Now, we love at Indie Film Cafe. And this is horror film lovers, but at Indie Film Cafe, we love Mark Polonia. Like, that's just absolutely. And at Horror Film Lovers, when I'm doing movies like this, when I'm doing, kind of newer movies that I haven't watched, I've got to take them with a little bit more, honesty about like what they could do, and honestly, I feel like Mark Polonia could have shot more stuff. I mean, it's a pretty short running time, which is great, but if you're going to have a short running time, you need all of that running time to be filled with like stuff happening, interesting stuff happening, follow the House Squatch more. The one thing I really, really did like was that they sort of called like the House Squatches like as its own class. Like, there were Sasquatches, there were Bigfoots, there were Yetis, and then there's House Squatches. Like, as if, if they ever do a House Squatch 2, which I would not be opposed to. I am not opposed to it. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, if they do another House Squatch, it should be a little bit more fun. And I'll watch it, because I will watch everything Mark Polonia. Like, I just love that dude. But, I feel like this one was sort of meh, and I wanted more, I definitely wanted more. And sadly, I'm giving it 2 stars, because I'm just kind of out of 5, because I'm just kind of, like, this could have been a whole lot better, but all in all, though, I would, if you can see it if this is something that like ridiculous horror films where people are in suits and they attack people and all that's up your alley, go watch it on TV. Like, don't listen to me necessarily, because I may be, what I say may completely differ from your opinion. You may be like, oh my God, this is perfect for me. The farting characters are hilarious. I'm just not really that much into fart jokes to begin with. And when you're doing it like a million times, to me, it loses the humor. Like, that's what I liked about like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, was like there were a couple fart jokes in there, but they were just a couple. They did not put it throughout the whole thing, because after a while, it feels like that's what you're just relying everything on for the humor. Is, okay, we're going to make people laugh because they're going to hear farting. Some people, I will tell you, I have friends who love that kind of stuff. And you know what? Hey, everybody has their own different taste. I just don't. And that's fine. So anyway, I would highly recommend it for people who like that kind of stuff, or people who just want to see a silly, costume killer running around, killing everybody. And they even call him like Magilla Gorilla at one point. So I'm just like, they know this is a gorilla costume and not a Sasquatch costume. It's just, I just wish that they'd gone a little bit higher, budget for some of the stuff. Like, last thing I'll say is Polonia has done a great movie that I love. It's not like a fantastic movie but he did a movie called Frozen Sasquatch. I enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed that movie so much. This could have been Frozen Sasquatch. Unfortunately, like Frozen Sasquatch. Unfortunately, they did not make it like that. And it just was sort of, to me, it just kind of came off dull. So, anyway, all right. Well, join us next week when I'm going to be reviewing the, I think it's 2007 film Spring Break Massacre. Oh boy, this should be interesting. All right. Well, until then, have a good one, everybody. Bye.